Welcome to Uppity Apes, the podcast where we swing from the branches of science, curiosity, and a touch of audacity to explore the wildest questions facing humanity today. Buckle up, because today's question is a beast. Given colossal bioscience's advancements, how could we actually make a dinosaur? Picture this: a T-Rex stomping through a lab, or a Velociraptor eyeing you from a petri dish. Sounds like sci-fi, but with genetic engineering racing forward, is this Jurassic dream closer than we think? Let's dive into the science, the ethics, and the sheer audacity of bringing dinosaurs back to life, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single second of this. First, let's set the stage with Colossal Biosciences, the company at the heart of this question. Founded in 2021 by geneticist George Church and entrepreneur Ben Lamb, Colossal is a biotech powerhouse aiming to extinct species like the woolly mammoth, the dodo, and the Tasmanian tiger. Their mission? To use cutting-edge gene editing tools like CRISPR to resurrect extinct creatures and restore ecosystems. They've raised hundreds of millions in funding, $225 million by 2023, according to their website, and they're not messing around. Their approach involves rewriting DNA to recreate traits of extinct species, inserting those genes into living relatives, and hoping the result is a woolly mammoth grazing in Siberia or, maybe one day, a dinosaur roaring in a lab. So, how does this translate to dinosaurs? Let's break it down. To make a dinosaur, you'd need three things: viable DNA, a way to edit or reconstruct it, and a host to grow the creature. Step 1. DNA. Unlike mammoths, where we've got frozen carcasses with intact DNA, dinosaurs are tough. They went extinct 66 million years ago, and DNA degrades over time. The half-life of DNA is about 521 years, meaning after a million years, it's basically dust. A 2013 study in Proceedings of the Royal Society B confirmed this, showing that even in ideal conditions, DNA wouldn't survive past 6.8 million years. No dinosaur DNA has ever been found. Sorry, Jurassic Park fans, mosquito blood in amber won't cut it. Those are just proteins or contaminants, not usable genetic code. But Colossal's work offers a workaround. They're not relying on finding intact DNA, they're reconstructing it. Here's where it gets wild. Dinosaurs didn't vanish without a trace, they left descendants. Birds, from sparrows to ostriches, are modern dinosaurs, specifically theropods, sharing a common ancestor with creatures like T-Rex. A 2008 study in Science mapped the chicken genome and found genetic similarities to theropod dinosaurs, including genes for feathers, claws, and even teeth. Colossal could, in theory, use a bird's genome, say, a chicken or an emu, as a starting point. They'd identify dinosaur-like traits in the bird's DNA, then use CRISPR to amplify those traits and suppress modern ones. For example, they could turn on genes for a long, bony tail or sharp teeth, while turning off genes for wings or beaks. This isn't pure sci-fi. Researchers like Jack Horner have already manipulated chicken embryos to grow dinosaur-like tails and teeth, as detailed in his 2011 TED Talk. Colossal's tech could scale this up, editing thousands of genes to nudge a bird closer to a dinosaur. But let's talk specifics. Say we want a Velociraptor. We'd start with an emu, a large, flightless bird with a decently close genetic profile. Using CRISPR, we'd edit its genome to express Velociraptor traits: sharper claws, a longer tail, maybe even protofeathers, since Nature published evidence in 2017 that Velociraptors had feathers. We'd need to tweak developmental pathways, genes like Hox genes that control body plans, to reshape the skeleton. Colossal's already doing this with mammoths, editing elephant DNA to express cold-resistant traits like thick fur. For dinosaurs, it's a bigger leap, but the principle is the same: rewrite the code, cell by cell. Next, you need a host. You can't just pop edited DNA into thin air, it needs to grow. For mammoths, Colossal uses induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs, from elephants, turning them into egg-like cells that can develop into embryos. For dinosaurs, we'd do the same with bird cells, implanting them into an artificial egg or a surrogate bird. A 2020 study in Cell showed that iPSCs can be programmed to form complex tissues, so growing a dino embryo isn't impossible. The catch? We'd need to perfect artificial wombs or find a bird big enough to carry a dino egg, think ostrich or cassowary. Colossal's working on artificial wombs for mammoths, so this tech could cross over. Now, let's dream big. Imagine the first dino embryo hatching. It's not a T-Rex yet, maybe a chicken-sized proto-velociraptor with a toothy snout and a whip-like tail. Each generation, we'd refine the edits, getting closer to the real thing. Colossal's Mammoth project aims to produce a calf by 2028, so let's ballpark a decade or two for a dinosaur, assuming funding and tech keep pace. The science is tantalizingly close, and the thought of seeing a living dinosaur? It's enough to make your heart race. But hold up, let's pump the brakes and talk about why this might be a terrible idea. First, the science isn't perfect. Editing thousands of genes is like rewriting a novel with a dull pencil, and mistakes happen. A 2019 Nature article warned that CRISPR can cause off-target mutations, leading to unpredictable traits. Your Velociraptor might end up with 6 legs or no immune system. And without a full dinosaur genome for reference, we're guessing at what authentic means. Is it a dinosaur if it's a genetically tweaked emu? Paleontologist Thomas Holtz, in a 2022 Smithsonian interview, argued that these creatures would be dinomimics, not true dinosaurs, since we're working from incomplete data. Then there's the ethical minefield. Dinosaurs evolved in a world of different climates, plants, and predators. A 2023 Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists article compared dinosaur extinction to climate change, noting how the KPG asteroid event reshaped Earth's ecosystems. Releasing a T-Rex into today's world could be ecological chaos. They'd have no natural prey, no habitat, and could spread diseases we can't predict. Colossal claims their mammoths will restore grasslands, but dinosaurs? They are not exactly ecosystem healers. A single escaped velociraptor could wreak havoc, as Jurassic Park so gleefully showed. And speaking of that, the movie's Ian Malcolm had a point. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. There's also the animal welfare angle. A 2021 ethics journal paper on De-Extinction argued that engineered creatures might suffer from genetic defects or inability to adapt. Imagine a dinosaur with a malformed skeleton, in constant pain because we got the gene edits wrong. Plus, what's the point? Colossal's mission is conservation, but dinosaurs aren't coming back to save the planet. They'd likely live in zoos or labs, raising questions about captivity and exploitation. A 2018 conservation biology study criticized De-Extinction as a distraction from protecting living species. Why spend billions on dinosaurs when rhinos are on the brink? On the flip side, the arguments for making dinosaurs are compelling, and not just for the wow factor. Scientifically, it's a moonshot. Perfecting dinosaur De-Extinction could advance gene editing tech, with applications for medicine or agriculture. A 2020 Nature Biotechnology paper highlighted how CRISPR breakthroughs in animals could lead to cures for genetic diseases. Plus, studying living dinosaurs could answer questions about evolution, like how birds diverged from theropods. John Eiler's work on dinosaur body temperatures, discussed in a 2021 Lonely Idea podcast, used fossils to infer metabolism. Imagine what we'd learn from a living specimen. Economically, dinosaurs could be a goldmine. Jurassic Park grossed over $1 billion per box office Mojo. A real dino park? Chaotic or not, it'd draw crowds. Colossal's already eyeing commercial applications for their mammoths, like ecotourism. Dinosaurs could fund conservation or research, though that risks turning science into spectacle. And let's be honest, the public would lose their minds. A 2023 Pew Research poll showed 67% of Americans are excited about De-Extinction, even if they're skeptical. The kid in all of us wants to see a triceratops in the flesh. But let's tackle the middle ground. Maybe we don't make a full T-Rex but a hybrid, a dinoid that's part bird, part dinosaur. This could mitigate ethical concerns while still pushing science forward. Colossal's approach with mammoths is similar. They're not cloning pure mammoths but creating elephant-mammoth hybrids. A dinoid could live in controlled environments, minimizing ecological risks, and still teach us about dinosaur biology. It's a compromise, but is it enough to satisfy either side? Now, let's get philosophical. De-Extinction challenges our view of nature. Are we playing God, or just using the tools evolution gave us? A 2019 Journal of Applied Philosophy article argued that De-Extinction could redefine humanity's role as stewards of Earth, giving us a chance to right past wrongs, like species loss from human activity. But dinosaurs weren't wiped out by us, they were victims of a cosmic fluke. Bringing them back might not be redemption but hubris. Let's zoom out. Colossal's advancements, CRISPR, iPSCs, artificial wombs, are already reshaping biotech. Their work on mammoths, detailed in a 2024 Scientific American article, shows they can edit over 50 genes in a single cell line. Scaling that to thousands for a dinosaur is daunting but not impossible. The real question is time and money. Mammoth de-extinction is estimated at $1.5 billion, per Colossal's investor reports. Dinosaurs, with no intact DNA, could cost double or triple that. And time? Decades, at least, unless AI accelerates gene modeling, as a 2025 Nature paper suggested AI could predict protein folding for extinct species. So, could we make a dinosaur? Yes, in theory, by reverse engineering bird DNA and using Colossal's toolkit. Will we? That depends on whether we prioritize science, profit, or ethics. The pro side says it's a scientific leap, a cultural phenomenon, and a chance to inspire. The con side warns of ecological disaster, animal suffering, and wasted resources. My take? It's a tightrope. We could walk it, but one slip, say, a rogue raptor, could send us crashing. Colossal's got the tech, but society needs to decide if the juice is worth the squeeze. Before I wrap up, let's have some fun. Imagine a world with dinosaurs. Picture a zoo where a triceratops munches synthetic plants, or a lab where a baby raptor learns to hunt. It's thrilling, but it's also a mirror. What does it say about us if we prioritize spectacle over survival? I'm not here to preach, but I'm curious what you think. Drop a question in the comments for a future Uppity Apes episode. Should we bring back saber-toothed cats next? Or maybe explore AI overlords? You tell me. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride. Until next time, keep swinging, you Uppity Apes.